Hi everybody, my name is Katie Rondot, and I am starting to post videos like this because I watch a lot of YouTubers, in particular like drawing with waffles, and then the more popular ones that aren't necessarily about art, but are out there trying to do something with their lives and make something of themselves. I love to draw, but I've been in a creative rut recently where I just don't know what I'm doing with my time and my effort, and I don't want to get so lackadaisical on this, so I've decided to try to post weekly videos here on YouTube every Wednesday. As you can see here, I'm kind of just drawing a character with headphones on. You can kind of see a couple sketches at the top of the page because I went through several iterations of what I wanted this person to look like. At first I thought like I was going to do a dancer, and then I thought, well, what if it's a hip-hop dancer? And I tried to draw that a couple times and it wasn't really working out, so I erased it all off the page, and then I decided on this girl with headphones. So I'm adding some fine details into the hair. I had to make a couple of choices about the hair. Originally I was just going to have it as like one big froof at the back of the head, like a full-on afro, but then I decided I didn't really like how the texture of that looked, so I decided this person has their hair pulled up into a ponytail, and there you can see I'm drawing the poof from the ponytail. I do end up going back and adding more lines into that when I'm working on it with a marker. I know right now it looks a little plain. And for that arm, originally I was going to have it up like she was dancing and snapping, but I decided that it looked kind of awkward. So I decided just to draw the shoulder down instead of up. If the video quality on this isn't the best, I apologize. I was recording this on my phone. So I was doing all the video stuff myself. I didn't have anyone helping me. As you can see here, we're just adding a jacket to her. Adding in some collar details and some stripes, kind of like the Adidas jackets. And I didn't draw a shirt with the pencil, but I do end up adding a collar for the shirt as well. Here you can see we're just working on the eyes, and the eyes are some of my favorite parts to draw and to shade, especially this anime style of eye. It was one of the first things that I would actually like really learned how to draw when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to learn. Like back in 6th grade, I think, is when I really started drawing, and oh boy, some of those drawings are they're very old drawings. I am not in 6th grade anymore, not by a long shot, and I mean I still have a lot to learn and a long way to go, but I hope at least that I've made a lot of progress from where I was. There are the eyebrows. I decided that they needed to be kind of high because she's excited and she's singing along to her favorite song, so going over the headphones, and I went back and forth on whether or not I should color those in. I believe I do later, but I just kind of left them like that for now because I wasn't sure what color I wanted. I was kind of thinking red and then maybe purple or blue, so there were a couple different color choices I was thinking over. This is a standard size sketchbook, so 9x12. I have been sketching in a smaller size one lately. I don't remember what the dimensions are offhand, but I've been using a lot of like micron pens for those. But I decided that this needed some thicker line work, and I wasn't really sure how it would look with micron pens, so I just got out my trusty old Sharpie. And you can see up there on the top left side of my desk I have a fine liner micron pen. Actually, I think that's like the biggest size they have, the like 1, which is mostly dried out. Because I'm really bad at putting caps on things and storing them properly. Plus I've had that for a while, so you can see there now that I've added the shirt. So now that the lines are all done, I'm going to go ahead and erase the drawing, and I went ahead and cut some of that out so you didn't have to watch the whole thing. And here I am starting with the skin. When I actually do like finished illustrations, traditionally I like to use alcohol-based markers. I do have a couple of Copics, but I'm still in college and kind of broke most of the time, so my go-to marker right now is the Spectrum Noir marker. You can buy them in like packs of 6. I believe they have bigger kits as well, but they don't sell just the individual marker, which is kind of strange to me. But they are a lot cheaper. They streak a little bit if you're just trying to do a very thin layer of color. I'm not sure if you can really see that on here very well on the camera, but in person you can definitely see the streakiness. They do have a bit of a smell to them as well, so I had a fan going while I was working on this process. I probably spent like an hour and a half on this particular drawing, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, I'm not sure. If you hear weird noises in the background, I'm sorry, that is my cat. He's deciding he wants to sprint all over the place. He's really cute, but he's really small. He's like 12 weeks old right now, and he's still trying to learn that biting people is not an option. But as you can see here, I'm still just kind of finishing up coloring in the face, and I'll add the skin color to the neck as well. And then I go in and shade, and I actually used, I believe it was like dark red 7 or dark red 8 from the Spectrum Noir set to shade this in. I thought I was going to use like a deeper brown tone at first, and then I was looking at my swatch page and I was like, huh, that actually goes really well with that. So I decided to use that to shade. And I'm just going along like the edges of the shape, then under the jaw, along the hairline, just kind of the obvious places for shadows to be. We keep going with that. And I know it looks a little bit harsh right now with just that marker, but I do go back with the lighter color and kind of blend it out, which is one thing that I do like about alcohol-based markers, is that you can blend it out a lot more easily. You can kind of see the streakiness I mentioned earlier on her left cheek, so on the right side of the illustration, over underneath of the shading that I did for kind of like the contouring and the nose area, or not the nose, sorry, the cheekbone area. I'm not tired, what are you talking about? I'm totally not doing this at midnight on a Saturday, technically Sunday. Nope, I would never do a thing like that. I always get enough sleep. Yeah, so I added a lot of shading. I believe the next thing that I did was I had to pull a bunch of colors because I wasn't sure what shade I wanted to do for the mouth. So I pulled out all of the red markers that I have, and I only have 6 of them. I believe I bought like a pack of reds from Spectrum Noir. So that's where most of these came from, and then I finally picked one. I wasn't really happy with that because it seemed too bright considering that it was a very brown background, but I decided to go with red for the headphones, so I was like, it'll work. It'll pull the color out around the image. And then I went for a slightly darker red to kind of shade in around the sides of that, and I decided to color the headband the darker shade of red. I wish I would have chosen an even darker tone though, because it kind of looks the same as the part over the ear, and it's hard to see a difference between the two. The next thing I went and did was the little cuffs around the ear section. So I just got out a black Spectrum Noir marker. I think the shade is like True Black or something. Kind of sketched out where I wanted my biggest highlight to be and then filled in around it. And these ones, I believe, have kind of like a brush bullet nib and a chisel tip, so it's not quite like a brush marker, but it feels more like a brush than it does a true nib. And then here I got out my Blick illustration set of markers. I got them as a Christmas present. It was like 6 or 8 markers, something like that. This one is the coffee shade, because I decided I didn't want to go for like a true black on the hair, because then you wouldn't really be able to see the line work that I had done on the one section to kind of pull it all in. So I decided to go for a slightly lighter color, but I still wanted to get that feel. So it kind of looks like a very cool tone in comparison to the rest of the image, but I like the contrast because it helps it stand apart from the skin. So, still filling in the hair. Spend a decent chunk of time doing that. Sorry, I leaned too far forward there. I was the only person here when I was doing that, so I was doing all my own camera checking, and I forgot to check. So you get to see my beautifully messy hair there. Now I'm just going in with, I believe, a slightly darker shade, and I just did like a bunch of squiggles around to help with the hair more texture. And now I am moving on to the eyeballs, at least the eyelashes. When I was working on the eyelashes on her right eye, I was really debating whether I should fill it in all the way or try to leave like a little white gap, like you'll see on a lot of like finished manga illustrations. But I decided to fill it in all the way right there, but I do have a white gel pen that I pulled out later and used. I decided to go with green eyes, and I think I have 3 shades there. One's more of like a mint than the other is, it's like forest green or jaguar green. It's a very strange name. It's one of the Spectrum Noir markers. And then the other 2 that I used were the Blick illustration markers. And I'm pulling on the page like that so I don't go over the edge and get the ink onto the pages below in my sketchbook. Because I was dumb and didn't put down cardboard or anything underneath. And I was debating whether I should leave the stripes white or not. But I colored in the shirt and the collar, and I kind of decided I wanted them darker. So I went and I filled them in with the darkest color that I used on the eyes as well. So just filling that in. And we're getting close to the end here. I added just a little bit more shading on the mouth there, and then now I'm going in and adding that detail work on the ponytail poof like I mentioned earlier. So I'm just kind of doing random squiggles but following like the general shape. Like if you see, there's a couple like poofier sections, so it's like 3 distinct bumps, and I tried to follow a line with the contours of that while I was doing my shapes. But then I got out my white gel pen and I went straight for the eyelashes because that was bugging me. And I just added some more details on the headphone cuff so it looked more like that crinkled patterned, almost leather type of feel. And I added a little bit of shine on the headphones so you could tell that they were plastic. And I know a lot of people use coconut oil when they're pulling their hair back like that and trying to get it to stay flat. So I really wanted to have that show that it was shiny. And then there I'm adding some details to the jacket. And I wasn't sure if I just wanted to have the left side stay like that or add another line. So I did add another line, and there's my finished illustration. If you liked it, please like the video, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.